Heyers, welcome to the ZedKraze stream for tonight, the 20th of December 2017. And we are back. If you were watching the live stream, we did start the stream already for the number 6 of 2017 stream, but my computer completely locked up. So we are redoing things. Luckily, we didn't get too far into we only just loaded past the title screen of the game. Now, if you have been wondering what is going to be number 6, well, so far we've had number 10, Thimbleweed Park, number 9, Paradigm, number 8 was, what was number 8 again? It was Little Nightmares. Number 7 was South Park, and now number 6 is Tacoma. Now, if you don't know what Tacoma is, it's a sort of first-person explorer game by the makers of Gone Home, one of the games and I guess games company, Fulbright, that defined this genre, you know, of, I call them first-person explorers, you may call them walking simulators, but whatever you call them, it's one of my favorite genres these days of games. It's a great game. We won't get through the whole game in the stream. We'll probably play about 1 to 2 hours of it. We'll be starting again because I've already completed it. It's only about 4 to 6 hours, but it's a good 4 to 6 hours. And as I've said on previous streams, I do like short games like that you can knock out in a night or weekend, because it respects my time, you know. There's some games I do want to keep playing for hours and hours and hundreds of hours or whatever, but, you know, most games, because there's so many games to play right now, I want them to be a contained experience that isn't too long, doesn't outstay its welcome, you know. It does its thing, all killer, no filler. So let's try again, and hopefully this doesn't lock up, because after I press start, this locked up, so let's see what happens. Hoping, loading. I mean, I haven't touched this game since, I think this came out in August, and I pretty much knocked it out, you know, almost straight away, because I had been waiting for it for years. It's been in development for many years since Gone Home. Got delayed at least once, because they decided to kind of rejig a lot of it after some playtests and feedback from people that are playtesting it. So yeah, alright, I think this is actually loading. That's cool.
Alright, Minnie. Ready to start docking sequence?
Okay. Engaging retro thrusters now. Lunar Transfer Station Tacoma. Commercial Cargo Transit Facility. Crew evacuated. Station AI offline.
Air supply?
Breathable air on Tacoma for a crew of 1 should be more than sufficient. Docking now.
I mean, to go from Gone Home, which was based around a house, to going to a space station, you know, in many ways it is similar in respect to being restricted to one place, but I guess some of the scope has definitely gone up a bit.
Nice. Thanks, Minnie.
With, I believe, a similar size studio. I mean, I think there's only about 4 or so developers working on this game, maybe 6. Plus, of course, the voice actors and that. But I don't know, as soon as you put something out in space, it feels like the scope's much larger already, you know, even though probably there's, in many ways, probably the same amount of rooms in many ways as Gone Home, maybe a bit more. It's a very nice looking game for, you know, I feel like, I mean, maybe Gone Home, Gone Home is like, I think about 5 years old now, but yeah, I don't know, I mean, you look at these shinies in it, and like, look at that screw right now. Grab nut. I mean, that's a nice shiny nut. But yeah, it's definitely not a cheap looking game, you know. I think, you know, that's a key, and that's what's so good about the first-person explorer genre for indie developers that have a small team. You know, someone like Campo Santo, who made Firewatch and are making In the Valley of Gods right now, or Fulbright, who've made this, and Gone Home, is that it's about, you know, limiting your scope and just doing that as well as possible. You know, I mean, that was kind of the thing about I think Gone Home in particular. You know, Steve Gaynor, the
Minnie,
one of the main developers from
Don't
Fulbright,
let anybody scan the ship while I'm gone.
Okay.
he used to work on
Okay.
Bioshock games. He's done level design, I believe, in that for like the Minerva's Den, I think it is, for Bioshock 2 DLC. Yeah, I guess this genre, in a way, many ways, kind of takes the sort of environments that those sort of games would have and just says, hey, what happens when you take out the shooting out of it and just focus on the world building, the environmental storytelling, the you know, the narrative, you know, the character development instead, and not have to worry about shooting 1,000 zombies along the way, you know, monsters and bad guys and goons that all look the same, you know. And that's the thing, there's quite a few shooters games, you know, if you will, first-person shooters, third-person action games, that kind of just grind through the combat side of it just so I can be, you know, in that world, you know, because they've built a really awesome world, but they kind of, you know, dumb it down and slow it down by, you know, having all this combat in there. And I know a lot of people do like shooting things and beating things up and that, you know, that's been a mainstay of gaming for many a decade. But yeah, you know, when we're talking about length, this game is like maybe 4 to 6 hours of gameplay. If you went and got Uncharted or, you know, or Bioshock or whatever, and don't say those as bad games, those are both great games actually. So they're just two games that I've actually played. And if you ripped all the combat sequences out of those, they probably, well, maybe Bioshock was a bit longer perhaps, but Uncharted, for example, is usually about a 15 to 20 hour experience. It usually feels like it drags on at least a few chapters too long. I'd say the last quarter of every Uncharted game feels like it's still dragging on. You could probably cut a quarter off that. But if you took out all the combat out of that, even if you kept all the climbing in there, maybe the time would be around the same time as, you know, a first-person explorer game. So I feel like first-person explorer games, many people think they're slow on that, but in ways they kind of get to the point. They don't waste your time with, you know, finding a bunch of goons, you know. I really love the gravity in this. Now, of course, people would say I'm crazy to say, oh, combat isn't wasting your time, but, you know, I know, once you've played games for many years, you kind of get bored with combat. There's not actually that much new to it. Once you've shot 1,000 goons in one game, you've kind of shot 1,000 goons in every game.
Hello, I am Odin, Lunar Transfer Station Tacoma's Operational Data Interface Network. I have recorded this message to welcome you, guests, aboard. Before I can set up your station profile, you must register your body positional data with Tacoma's AR tracking systems.
That's one really cool
Please
thing
place your
about
hand
this
on
game
the
is
AR
some of the
figure's
futuristic concepts it has in there. That's what I really dug about this game. Like, you know, yeah, you'll just see there's just little environmental storytelling elements of it that kind of give you an idea of where the world's at technologically and politically and socially and that at this point of the world.
Your body positional data has been registered with Tacoma's AR network. Please sign in to confirm your identity.
See, that's a really
Thank
smart
you.
way of introducing the
Welcome
character's
aboard.
name without having to no, I guess do the exposition of it
While
all.
aboard Tacoma Station, please remember that all activity on this facility is monitored by AR recording. All activity records become sole property of the Venturas Corporation. Any questions about piracy and personal participation should be sit down, God's
And now we're floating. I must admit, this did actually make me sick a bit at first. Actually, I feel like I'm just adjusting to it again now. I forgot. But I think that's one of the things they changed in the from the original version of this game before when they decided to rejig it, was I think anti-gravity sort of floating around played a much larger part in the game originally, but maybe they found it was making people too sick. Yeah. And this is where you'll see the main mechanic of this game, is that there's these sort of AR recordings of what people have talked about and said and that. And it's a smart thing from an indie developer point of view, in a respect that to put real 3D characters into a game would be very costly, that are kind of semi-realistic and that. I mean, all this other graphics looks top-notch, you know, like quite realistic and that, but to put a character in there that isn't highly stylized would cost a lot for a little indie studio. So this is kind of a way to actually put characters in, because if you remember Gone Home, you didn't actually see anyone in that whole game, much like most, if not all, first-person explorer games. And that's just, yeah, just a limitation of budget and scope and that for a small indie studio. And for a game that you're only paying $20 US for, you know, you're not paying AAA price for this. So this was kind of a smart way of dealing with having real characters in it, but kind of not at the same time. But it's also the whole mechanic of how the game goes, because you're trying to reconstruct what has happened here. And they've done this really smart thing where you can rewind stories. The coolest thing I think that this game does with this conversation system is that people are just having natural conversations, a bit like in Oxenfree, how conversations are very natural. This game does conversations really natural in a respect that, but in a different way, that say these two people are talking, you could go off to another room and there could be two other people talking at the exact same time. If you rewind it, it rewinds them and also these guys as well at the same time. So if you want to get the whole scope of things, you have to move around to actually capture what other people are saying in their own little groups at the same time. So yeah, it's really cool how they've done that. Yeah. I don't know if in some ways it kind of gives you a detachment from the characters a bit, but the voice acting is very good, so it works well in that respect. I guess you could argue it's just another bunch of voice logs, you know, like you get in most games, you know, like reading books and notes and listening to voice logs, but it's just a bit more smarter way of doing it, I think, and a bit more innovative and that. And it's good how, like, this whole intro sequence has kind of given you a reason for this to be. It's not like just you walking along and go, oh, someone left all these tape recorders around for no reason, I guess I'll listen to them. No, there's really good legitimate reason why this exists. It's part of the security system, if you will, of this space station, and it makes logical sense, so it doesn't feel forced in a way. It feels legit what could happen in the future, you know, with AR and security technologies and so forth. Now I just have to remember how to actually use it. Or we could just look outside. There's Earth. Yeah, so this has been captured recently, I get that. How do I go down again? Oh, well that... Okay, there we go.
miss it, huh?
Well, it just seems like it'd be strange being back on Earth already.
So you can see I can fast forward them, rewind them.
Well,
So,
And they won't be just staying around here. They'll naturally, like, not in this particular scene probably, but in other scenes, people will walk from one room to the next while still talking. You've got to follow them to
just
listen.
seems like it'd be strange being back on Earth already after only a year up here.
really? After all I've had to hear from you about the conditions VT has us working under?
Yeah, but there's that, and then there's this. Yeah, I'll miss it.
I can't blame you. So, whether you're getting renewed or not, did you submit your yearly crew member report?
No.
Yeah, me neither. You know, I think I might go get that done.
Okay, yeah, I probably should too. Oh my god, wait. Is today obsolescence day?
Yeah.
You can see up the top
Didn't
who's
Odin give you
talking
a
at the
job to
time.
do?
No.
A computer playing favorites. Oh, well, one doesn't ever cease.
And see that? It's also a very subtle way of introducing you to the fact that you will be moving with these recordings, if you will. Oh man, I've got to get my anti-gravity flying working a bit better, I think. How do I do it? Man. Don't expect to be as bad at this as me. There we go. But I like how they've really thought through a lot of this stuff. I mean, I don't know if they've actually gone and visited, like, NASA. I still remember hearing something about them visiting NASA at some point for this game. Could be wrong, could be another game. But I feel like they would have had to done a lot of research. This is not like Gone Home where it's just like, oh, everyone knows what a house is like and living in a house and that. So, this would have taken, you know, some real research. Actually, I just really wonder what's coming next for these developers. I don't think this game has sold as well as Gone Home, so if you are liking what you see, I do recommend you support the developers and buy the game. I was surprised for not completely linear, but I guess it is. There's no multiple endings, for example, for this game. I generally try and keep those sort of games, narrative games, off the stream, or at least not playing from start to finish, because especially for indie developers, I think it kind of gives away the game, and I don't like that. I don't like the trend of that, of people kind of playing through a game like it's a movie sort of thing, and then kind of, you know, people are rewarding the streamer, the YouTuber, and that sort of thing, but not the actual developers that are actually spent years making it. You know, someone plays through a game for a couple of hours, and we're supposed to, you're supposed to donate to me or something like that for that. But the developer gets nothing out of it, even though they haven't charged the streamer or anything money to do it or anything like that. And you can say, oh, it's a promotion. It's promotion. Well, not if people don't actually go out and buy the game after, because they say, oh, well, I've already seen the ending. I've already seen it played all the way through. I watched someone else play it. I mean, seriously though, what's the fun in watching someone else play through a whole game like that to an extent? I mean, I know I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot here, but I'm also thinking from the perspective of myself wanting to get into development and making narrative-based games. And yeah, I wouldn't mind people streaming parts of my game, but I wouldn't want them streaming the whole game. But still, this is where I come back to Fulbright being really good. Is I actually contacted Fulbright before I streamed part of this game. Oh no, I was thinking of streaming this game on the stream when it first came out, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to personally. For my own experience, I wanted to maybe play it in the dark on a big TV and that sort of thing, and just get really immersed in this big you know, sort of setting in a way. But then I thought, oh, but I'd really like to show people this game at the same time and promote it. And yeah, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to actually ask Fulbright and say, you know, I mean, streamers, YouTubers and that, so forth. You know, just assume that we have permission to, you know, stream these games, and you know, it's generally, you know, just been an, you know, an okayed thing, on good faith, if you will, you know, streaming of games and stuff. But yeah, so I emailed Fulbright, and surprisingly, with only a few days until the game was coming out, which is, you know, the most worst time to be, you know, hassling a developer. Go, hey, I'm this unknown streamer you haven't heard of before. You should, yeah, let me play your game, or can I play your game? Do you mind? I normally don't play a game like this, but if you don't mind, I'll play it. And they were totally cool with it. Steve himself actually emailed me back, and said, yeah, you can play it. Do whatever you want. And I was like, all right. I was surprised. I then, in the end, didn't actually play it on the stream because I didn't want to ruin my experience. Because I'd been waiting for this game for years. Gone Home is one of my favorite games of all time. And as I said, it inspired me to want to get into indie development myself. So I kind of didn't want to have to be feeling like I had to talk through the whole experience like I am right now, and miss all the little tiny features, like something like that. You know, if I'm too busy talking and just kind of, you know, zombieing my way through it all, perhaps I wouldn't have got as much enjoyment out of it. You know, it's a bit different if you're playing, you know, Rocket League or PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds or something. You know, you can talk through that and you're not missing out on much. You know, but something like this, you want to be totally immersed in it. So that's why I also recommend, even if this stream goes for, say, 2 hours, and we see, you know, a third of the game or something tonight, if you are liking what you're seeing, stop this video now and let it be all surprise to you. Don't have any spoilers. Because, how do I say this? It ends well, I'll say. It ends well. And I don't mean that in a, it's a good ending, like a positive ending for your character necessarily or anything. I just mean, you know, endings are very hard to land, and I think they landed the ending in this game. I was quite surprised, because I was getting towards near the end, and I was thinking, oh, how's this actually going to end? Is it actually going to be good? And then I was like, oh, okay, that was smart, that was cool. So yeah. Definitely not going to show you the ending on this. Not that we would get to it in this stream anyway, but I mean, this top 10 stream is supposed to be just giving you a taste of the best games of the year, and in that respect, you should support them, and if you like what you see, and go purchase them. I mean, hey, I was just checking at the time of this recording, of the time of this stream, the Steam Summer Sale, I think, starts tomorrow, so no doubt these games that I've been playing will be on special for the next week or two. So grab them while they're hot, you know. Oh man, this is just making me want to make games right now. This game's made in Unity, and I literally just loaded up Unity before I came on stream to try out a quick idea. And it was a 3D sort of base sort of idea. I can't really 3D model or anything, but yeah. Yeah. This just makes me, just like Gone Home, it just makes me want to make a game. The game I'm developing myself right now is a 2D sort of game, but my next game I want to make after that, I want it to be a first-person explorer game like this. I find this really interesting, how they've used like real photos. I mean, that was kind of in Gone Home as well. But yeah, check out the world building here. Just in a simple, this is really smart world building here. Like, okay, so this is just like some magazine or something, right? And this is, if you've played Gone Home, this will seem very reminiscent, picking up objects that you can spin around like this and just check out. We are orbital workers. 2087. So that's around the time that we're in right now. What, 70 years into the future? Union member pamphlet. What your dues make possible today. What's interesting about this is it's kind of not saying that automation's taken over at this stage, which I find surprising for 70 years in time. I would think automation would have taken over most labour jobs at this point, unless there is hints on that later on. A victory for workers, the end of the orbital workers safety bill. The full report on this historic vote that struck down this anti-union bill. Get involved. So it's already giving you a bit of the idea of the political world at this point. And that's interesting. I had it flipped to the back and now it's landed that way as well. Yep, it's tape. It's cool how everything has a bit of a gravity to it as well. Obsolescence party tomorrow. A friendly reminder, our I'm sorry for mispronouncing that. I suck with that word. Obsolescence party, day party, is tomorrow. Refreshments will be provided. The pleasure of your company is requested tomorrow at 7 p.m. 1900 hours in the dining hall in administration module. Warmly, Clive. Now, to me, that also suggests that people are possibly still handwriting, which I find a bit crazy. I can't even handwrite anymore as it is. I had to fill out something the other day. Oh, that's right. I was writing some envelopes for a Christmas card. And I make my own Christmas cards in Photoshop, and I'd done all the writing on the back of the cards in the printed form. Like I did it up in Photoshop, so I didn't have to write it, but I still had to, for the envelopes, had to handwrite it. And man, my handwriting sucks. It sucked before, but before, like, the computers really took over so much, you know, when I was a kid and that sort of thing. But yeah, now, yeah, I can barely write, you know, anymore. And I don't care, you know, as long as everything allows that to happen. I mean, I'm so happy, like PDFs are kind of taking over, so I don't have to fill out forms anymore, really. Handwritten, I can type it all in and that. It's, yeah. The world is a better place for me these days with my crappy handwriting skills and my crappy colouring skills. I was a good drawer, but I always sucked at colouring in. So now I can just use a paint bucket and fill things. That's so much better. Anyway, here's another recording we found. Here's one we prepared earlier, 4 days earlier actually. There we go.
All right, ladies, you have everything you need?
Yep-o. Thanks for offering to help.
Oh yeah, no problem. I mean, you know how much I love completely mindless busy work.
Kid, don't start. We don't...
So there's different things along the way. You can kind of pick up some clues and stuff. But some of it appears to be broken. I won't read all of this out. If you watched me when I was playing through Pyre early in the year, man, that was a struggle having me read out things. This game's got voice acting, so let's not have me do... I mean, I wouldn't mind doing some voice acting in games and that. But me just reading out pre-written stuff like this live on stream, yeah, not so good. But yeah, look, I don't need to read this myself, really. We're just giving you a taste here.
Okay, so if you're so sure, maybe we should just do our jobs then? Get renewed again next year?
God, next year? Nah, I'm gonna quit.
Stop.
What? They don't even give me access to the system I'm supposed to be maintaining. I mean, are you kidding me?
Well, do you really need direct access to Odin?
It's the principle of the thing. I mean, what if they were like, hey Bert, your job's a mechanical engineer,
I mean,
but, you know, don't
I wonder
touch
if they
anything.
actually... I mean, because the animations are pretty decent.
I'll be pulling a paycheck for one thing.
They seem very natural. So I wonder if maybe they did motion capture people for these.
Yeah, but it never went anywhere.
So they maybe record the voices and motion captured them at the same time, and then they just took that data and put it onto these sort of basic models without having to worry about texturing, lip sync and stuff like that, and that's where they kept it within the scope of their budget and the size of their studio, I guess.
Matt!
What is it?
Hey, remember when we talked about how I needed access to Odin's direct interface?
So yeah, people just naturally come in, and we had that
so how about
other
this?
person earlier on walk away, and we can walk away while that's still playing. And if we miss something, we can just rewind it.
So how about this? Tell
like rewind them coming even back in, so
Hey, remember when we talked about how I needed access to Odin's direct interface?
Uh-huh.
we can pause it.
So how about this?
Have a look around.
Tell VT if they don't grant access to Odin, they're gonna have to find themselves a new network specialist.
Oh my god. Nat, you're not even renewed yet.
You don't have access to Odin.
No, there's a whole part of the networking module I can't even get into.
People, everything on this station is VT's property. We're subcontractors. They get to decide what exactly we do and don't have access to. It's in all our paperwork. So if you want to quit, then just quit, but don't make me your go-between.
I mean, it is fair. How is she meant to do her job?
Clive,
Then again, rules are rules.
Nat, I'll think about it. And for now, how about you just get the rest of this job done while you still have it?
Aye, aye, Captain.
Oh wait, wrong button actually, sorry. I was rewinding it. I mean, that looks good. That's a good looking shirt, you know. I mean, I don't like shirts like that, but I mean, like the graphics for it, you know, are perfectly serviceable. Like they look good. I reckon. Like there's a slight stylization to it, like it's like slightly cartoony, but not quite. Like, I wish there was a way to just lock holding something, but like. Doesn't seem to do that, but orbital certification in 6 months. Can't remember if I actually went to those QR codes before. Let me just check. Actually, the iOS photo app now just automatically scans QR codes. You don't have to have a separate app these days, I don't think. So, there we go. Loyalty bonus once qualifying for in a 12-month. What about the other QR code? Looks like it just kind of replays the text that's on there. Let me check this one. Yeah, still, I'm always a bit interested in QR codes in games. Eat your vegetables. How the crew of Supply Depot Armstrong supplements their diets. I'm guessing that guy's like it's kind of the Richard Branson of the future world. As I said, it's been, you know, probably about 4 or 5 months since I played this game, so I've somewhat forgotten some of the storyline in that, so, you know, this is kind of fresh in my mind again. I mean, at first when I was thinking about, oh, I'm gonna have to start this game again, I've already played through it, why would I want to play it? I'm actually kind of enjoying this again already. You know, I'm happy to be back in this world again, you know? It's a good one. So as I said, I won't, you know, go into that stuff too much. We'll just stick with the voice acting stuff. So for example here, like if we we have rewound it already. Now if we play this, wait, I said let's play this.
Nicholas.
So while those people down there are having their conversations, as you can see, like she's moving off, this guy up here is doing his thing.
You have your heart set on Amazon, don't you? Okay. And there's no way we're gonna have enough customer loyalty between your dad and I for a full ride by the time you start school. Not at this rate. So, we're just gonna have to pay some of that tuition out of pocket. Yeah, just one more year. And I'm pretty sure I'll get it. Hoping. What? No, it's not dangerous. What do you mean dangerous? Radiation shielding is pretty much 100% on a station like this, so there's no... Well, yeah. Well, it might have been manufactured 30 years ago, but they've upgraded. No,
Your stories aren't usually such.
we're not all gonna get cancer or bone
So
disease
people
or...
are just doing their own thing at the same time.
suppose I am preoccupied with your potential departure.
Station doctor?
Wait.
Okay.
You
So
mean
there's multiple
me?
conversations going on at the same
Or-
time here. Like,
Can I bother you for a second?
What? Oh, sorry. What is it?
I have my son Nicholas on AR, and he wanted to ask you... What? No, you said you wanted...
and you've
I
got
did-
these hints like that other things are happening. Like, see those little icons on the
Now,
playing thing?
Nicholas.
Like, so
Nicholas? Hello?
that's showing me that she's
James,
got
huh?
some stuff up here that I can restore now. So, yeah. And that's
Almost
why
done
now
with
that's
high
got a
school.
tick on that little bar there.
It just incidentally... Is
Sorry,
there
I'm
anything
just
we should
gonna
be worried
bring
about
up
with another year out
stream
here, health-wise? Radiation,
labels.
bone density...
Oh no. We spend almost all of our time in Earth
Sure, it's
gravity,
loading up.
and radiation shielding on a station like this is basically 100%.
See, that's what I told him. Okay, thanks, Sarah. Nothing to worry about.
Okay, Odin, where were we?
So you can see that there's one more question mark we've got to get in the conversation. And we can actually go back to, you can see where the point is. Like it's there, it's yellow. So it's whoever's yellow. And had those cogs on them. That person must be somewhere else. Ah, they're here. You can see the color code, which makes it a bit easier.
I thought that...
Clive.
And see,
Oh, yes,
there's
come on in,
his
So he-
AR stuff.
You rounding soul, then? That's tremendous.
And see,
Eight
this is
months.
essentially like probably about the
Jem, I
third or
must
fourth
leave now.
conversation
Yeah,
that
ring me
happens
again
in
before
just this
Resplendence
section
leaves us,
here.
will you?
And you've got to move around
Sorry
with
about
people to
An old
keep
friend
up
of
with
my
all
carnival
this.
days.
Otherwise
Consorted
you'd
with
miss
the enemy?
bits of it.
Worry not, mon capitan. I am nothing if not
So it
discreet.
plays with time really well.
Miss me, Clive? If VT kicks one of us off of this pinwheel.
Miss you? How could I? The next
And
thing
it's
BT
good,
would receive
like
after
something
ending
like
your
that
contract
instantly
with
tells you a bit more about the world.
Oh, so you think I'm the one who's getting shit canned?
I mean,
That's what a
considering
hotel
how
looks like in the
expensive
future
I
in
am,
70 years
Naturally.
on the moon.
Can you get back to cargo?
On my way.
May I?
Yeah, come on.
Oh crap. Keep pressing the wrong button. Now we're at a different time, 8 months ago. So yeah, you're trying to piece together what's happened here. It's almost that sort of, I guess, trope, if you will, of like lost in memory, but it's not. That's the thing, because you haven't lost your memory. You're trying to figure out a mystery here, basically. Now we can't actually open that up right now because we haven't got the key to the lock. There's a bill of some sort that might give us some information about the character's background and that. Could be something hidden in the rubbish here. And more. Wait, is that another one? We can just chuck that over there while we're looking around. I know I'm kind of just smashing through this and not really paying too much attention to stuff, but I think you should do that, you know? And yeah. I'm just giving you a little bit of a tour of the Tacoma space station, if you will, and give you a bit of a taste of what this game's like.
No, Germ, look, I don't know why. All right, I mean, you know how I've always been. It's never real in my mind. Why would she give a damn about me? Of all the people... Shit. Oh, bollocks. No, I'm spilling scotch all over outer space.
What's that? Oh, that's the speaker playing the music. So in many ways you kind of would think, well, how does this stop you from just getting straight to the end to an extent? But you're kind of exploring this this space station, and you can't get access to certain rooms until you kind of figure out certain things, and it's done in a very organic way. I can't remember how. I think it, you know, partly might be like things like finding keys and stuff like that based off you know, conversations you've heard say, hey, did you leave that here, or what was the passcode for this? You know, for example here, I literally said passcode and then a passcode thing comes up. I mean, we've already got this, haven't we? So
Through this, I learned that people do not
here's
always
another bit of the
want
conversation
what
we
they
haven't
need.
seen yet.
Yeah.
I believe I have learned a great deal.
Really? Like what?
Very early in my source's cognitive record, I recall an intense period of personal growth. I was tasked with internalizing the behavioral idiosyncrasies of an individual to which my operator was emotionally attached.
Huh.
I expanded my capabilities to faithfully recreate her procedural reasoning, vocal attributes, and other qualities. After months of effort, I gave my operator precisely what was asked of me. A perfect emulation of the target personality, accurate in every detail.
Wow.
To my befuddlement, he did not react in a positive way. Our relationship began to deteriorate irreparably. We never again spoke personally in the manner I had become.
Oh, keep pressing the wrong button for getting the memories going. Pretty good view from here. Now people have like those sort of bathrooms with a shower and they're overlooking like a grass field or something. Not quite the same as looking out to space. So you kind of get a sense here that this girl, or this lady, is into sort of, I don't know, J or K-pop or something like that. It's interesting, like, there's a lot of character development in that respect. Like, you get a sense of what each character's into, like, music-wise and things like that. But I found I never really... I was interested in the story, but I never really got that attached to the characters. Like, and I feel like that would have been one of the major goals for this game. But for whatever reason, I just didn't quite get attached to the characters, really. But and that's a super water-saving shower. Actually, how do astronauts shower? See, I'm no scientific whiz, so I don't know these things. Like, what's the deal with water and stuff? Like on the International Space Station and that. What do they drink? Punch bag. Hey, I didn't do that before, I don't think. Is this like a Steam achievement unlocked? Who said there wasn't combat in this game? Liars. Yeah, so we've been there. I must admit, you can get a little bit lost in this, I find, while you're trying to figure out what to do next. Like, we've already been there, haven't we? I mean, like, how did we even get in here in the first place? Look at the signs. ZedKraze, look at the signs. Personal quarters, exit. That makes sense. So I'm not sure if we can go further or if we've had to have done something already. But we'll just keep cruising around for now. As I said, we're just having a bit of a check out of this place. And as you can see, this almost kind of gives us this uploading of information to your vessel, if you will, as it says. Your spaceship that you got to here with. Kind of gives you a hint as to how much you've done of this particular section. So we've done half of it so far, so that kind of gives us a hint that there's like another whole section we need to go to, which looks to be over here, this administration area. cat.
Yearly report to Venturas Corporation, take 3. Odin, have you got me?
I am prepared.
Okay. I'll just, have my notes up. Hi there. Evie St. James here, administrator of Lunar Trans... Station Tacoma. It's been a year now since our crew has cycled onto the station, meaning we've had a year of getting to know each other, getting acclimated to the facility, and getting used to working with our on-station AI. Though working with Odin's been great. Hasn't it, Odin?
Yes.
Auto drone deliveries to and from the Zenith Lunar Resort have improved in efficiency by almost 4%. Though, most of that is thanks to Odin finding some improvements we could make. Our proudest moment as a crew, I think, was when a resort guest needed emergency care while on a transit vessel and was brought aboard Tacoma to be stabilized in one of our medical stasis cryo beds until she could...
Evie, we're about to cut the
Damn physics.
Right. Be right there. Odin, we'll get back to this after the party, okay?
Of course.
So yeah, I can't remember if she actually has conversation in there as such, but it's, well, you can kind of see her doing something in there, but we can't get into there yet, so we're gonna find out how we actually get access to the code to get into there.
Odin, what was that?
Debris has... I have righted the station's orbit.
Meteor but they said...
I guess this part is a bit of a spoiler to an extent. Something has just happened at that point. And if we rewind it, we'll find out. Let's check out some other parts. Perhaps we won't spoil it. I find that quite an interesting concept, like how you can expand that and collapse it.
Is that all there is? Is that all there is? If that's all there is, my friends, then let's keep dancing. Let's break out the booze and have a ball. If that's all there is. Ugh, really?
So I mean, it's things like that being in the bin, like you can tell that obviously she's been drinking wine. Um, just little subtle things that give you a bit of idea of the mindset of these characters before whatever's happened has happened, you know? Now there's a code. 1228. Let's see if we can figure out where that code goes. Now she's pink, so by the way, the controller controls on this are great. I guess because it was also specifically developed for Xbox One as well, so it had to have good console controls. But yeah, the controller controls still really good. And wherever possible, I'll play with controller. So, I mean, you'd think a game like this would be better with keyboard and mouse, but I reckon it feels way more natural when it's done right like this. To be playing with a controller feels more realistic in some ways, I feel. So this conversation, what happens here is, I feel, a bit of a spoiler. I don't think I want to give that away. We might even cut this stream short, so because I feel you're going to get a taste of what this game's about already, and I feel the key part of it is, you know, some of the I won't call them twists as such, but you know, the actual narrative, you know, what actually happens in it. Now, see, that's in here. This is a really interesting thing. Seems like something really simple, but there's that Richard Branson style guy. No offense to Richard Branson. That we saw in that magazine earlier. Clearly he's their, you know, the corporate CEO, perhaps, you know, the boss of the company that they work for, that they're contracted for. And clearly they don't really like him because, look, they got him as the dartboard target. I think there is a way to actually... Yeah, there we go. Did we get him? See, who said there wasn't action in these sort of games? You can play darts. Wasn't there a way to zoom in, I think? Oh no. I guess that's what this throw button's doing. What do we get? Oh, just about in the eye. And not only can you play darts, you can play pool. Let's see if we can actually set up like a game, like, so grab ball, place ball. Wait, where does the triangle go again? I haven't played pool for a long time. I think, let's say the white ball goes where that white dot is. Because this is what you came here for. Pool simulator. I'm pretty sure this is like an unlock, like an achievement on this game. So T-Punk says, makes me want to play darts, takes me back. Alright, let's try and get all these balls, because this is what this game's about, playing pool. Surely this is an achievement. Fill the triangle with pool balls. I mean, we're not exactly talking GTA mini games here, like, you know, it's not that detailed clearly, but, you know, there's a little bit of distraction, there's a little bit of immersion into this world. Technically, the darts and this pool is kind of functional. It's just that you're the only person on this space station right now, so, yeah, it's not going to be a very interesting game playing against yourself. There we go. Alright, now let's remove the triangle. No, no, put the ball back. Grab the triangle. Is there a place to place that? Or oh, how about we put it... There we go. Oh wow, it's actually got a little spot. I haven't seen that on a pool table before. That's fancy. An actual triangle spot. Must be only premium tables that have that. Let's grab the cue. Oh, we need to use some chalk on it. Can we chalk it up? Maybe not. Grab chalk. Oh, this isn't a point and click adventure. Use chalk on cue. Oh, look at all the... See, here's some extra details. Like, look at all the marks from people accidentally hitting the walls and that. There's a second cue. Alright. Let's break it. Like, not the game. I mean, like, let's... There we go. Oh. Not quite enough. Ah, well, that feels like we're cheating a bit. But I'll take it. Hey. Where'd the white ball go? Did I shoot that off or something? Or has it gone to like a return? This is a fancy pool table. I guess it's a future pool table, isn't it? I wonder if there's real pool tables like that. Is that the ball in there? Where did we put it? Where did we shoot it? Have we broken the pool table? Hey! Whoa! We had it in our hand or something? Where'd it go? I want the ball back. I want another shot, man. One shot, one kill. Oh, come on. Alright. People coming to watch Tacoma probably haven't come to watch me try and find a pool cube, a pool ball in a bush. Technically, you could play this board game. I just don't know how to. Actually, maybe you can't. But you can see, it looks like Sarah was winning the game. Actually, I think that's in this conversation, so if we rewind it... Watch it, you can kind of see...
Not know what you're looking for?
Sarah
No, I just
was hanging around
imagine.
here at the time. I say at the time because I don't want to give away what happened around this time. What was that code again? 1228, I think it was. We totally got distracted and we forgot what that code was. Let's go back. And... Okay, so she's pinky purple. And that code was... One, two, two, eight. Cool. Let's go find the locker for that. I reckon that's what that's going to be. That was her, wasn't it? Locker room. Oh, is hers already open? Then... Oh, wait a minute. No, because that other lady was in... Whose one was it in before? Should have paid attention to the name, not just the colour. I was starting to think it was the boss lady maybe, but that's in that office, but she can't be in the office at the same time as being... Oh yeah, she can because at different times. Oh, I was getting confused there. Yeah. Because this is from 3 days ago, but in her room was another time, so it's not the same recording, so she's not in different places at the same time. That's just different times that is. So this should be 1, 2, 2, 8. And there you go. And that kind of shows you the sort of, I guess, puzzles, if you will, you're going to be dealing with. Nothing too hardcore, but maybe there is more hardcore stuff later on. I can't remember. It was, as I said, it's quite a month ago since I played this game. Clang. Oh, and these are the computers. Pretty cool. It kind of reminds me a bit of the Surface Studio in that it's like a whole desk sort of thing. Not the Surf Studio's quite that, but it's not far off it. But yeah, it kind of shows that the Surface Studio in some ways is a bit of a glimpse into the future in some respects, possibly. Actually, this is the thing. Is this just, you know, is that actually a screen on there, or is it just that that kind of acts as a backdrop, like a physical hard surface for you to touch, and what you're seeing over there is being projected via AR, perhaps? That's probably more so what's going on here, which is quite a believable scenario, you know? I mean, if we can't already kind of do that sort of thing, we're not far off it, you know? So definitely in 70 years' time. But yeah, this is the computer of the future, a desk. It's literally a desktop computer. Get your emails. So these are what I found quite interesting, was these sort of ID cards, like they kind of show. Oh, there's something to do with, I think that's one of the concepts I found really cool. Somewhere along here, I think with one of these sort of ID cards, it kind of hints that California has separated from the rest of America, which, you know, to be honest, I feel like that could happen any time in the current Trump era right now, you know. You know, because, like, you know, California, I think, is fighting the anti-climate change propaganda from Trump and that sort of thing by them not, the federal government is not doing anything about it, but states like California, I believe, are still pushing ahead and meeting the Paris targets and stuff like that. So this almost kind of hints at that sort of thing, that, you know, that California separates itself from the rest of the USA at some point. Not this particular ID card, but there is someone's ID card, and it says something, you know, the I can't remember what they call it, but yeah, it's quite cool. I think Fulbright, where are they based? Are they in San Francisco or Oregon or something like that? Portland, maybe, I don't know. I'm not from America, so what would I know? Grab Mousy. Oh, Mousy. Oh, that'll be for the cat. That's her pet. So if we rewind... Oh, actually, no. If we fast forward it a bit till she gets in here... Actually, once again, I feel like this is around when something happens, so I don't want to give it away. But once again, more sort of environmental storytelling. Kind of shows you these characters' backstories just by, you know, the dwellings, which is very much what Gone Home was all about, you know, kind of snooping around a person's house and trying to get a sense of the family there and what their deal was and what's been going on in that family. Now, it is quite a lot to this this station. Like, we went down a particular section you would have seen once we came through that first sort of anti-gravity sort of tube thing, and we went downstairs or whatever you want to call it. We went to one section. There's 3 of those sections, I believe, off the top of my head. So, you know, we're only seeing a portion, like the first third of this game at this point. There's a lot more to it. And you could literally spend quite a few hours just picking up everything. I mean, I think when I played it, I did pick up just about everything. That's kind of just what I do. Oh, started that conversation nearly. Damn toilets. Grab soap. Donut soap. AI maintenance. So yeah, it's pretty much that section really. I think if we go back to our little uploader, it probably won't be full yet. Oh, it is. See, that's quite interesting because we have not, or maybe we, just by playing that conversation, maybe it's kind of recognized, oh, you've read that, but have you really gotten the whole story yet? Not necessarily. We haven't. I mean, I've kept out of this a very big, I guess, spoiler as to what's happened here, you know? So in some ways, I wonder if that... I mean, surely you can still complete it, but you wouldn't necessarily know what's happened, really, I guess. But we'll see if we can go into the next section. I don't know if we will be able to or not. Personal module. I always found this bit kind of chugged along. I guess it's kind of almost like a loading screen in some ways. That's quite fancy. Up we go. Zero gravity, y'all. Oh yeah, there's this basketball. Grab. Let me grab it. Good luck trying to get a shot in, but... See, there's multiple action games in this. Like, you know, basketball, pool, darts. Oh, maybe that's how you get a shot in. You just let it spin around till you... Oh, that's the other team. Oh, what? Total miss. That's not good. USB device not recognized. I wonder what it is. Hey, Emily, how's it going? Welcome back. Haven't seen you for a while. Well, actually, I think you dropped into a stream the other night, but yeah, haven't seen you around as much. I don't think I'm ever going to get that shot in. Anti-gravity basketball is hard. What is that? Chewables. Let's try one more shot. I got this. Surely we can't miss if we shoot like this. We probably will. Hey! Scored! Hey, and we got an achievement unlocked from downtown! Was that a 3-pointer? Nice. Well, see, it was worth kind of replaying this game in some ways, because we just got an extra achievement unlocked. Even if we lost our completed game. So, we can't get into that section yet. I don't believe we can go back. Oh, we probably could go back to the start. Biomedical. Let's go down here. So I think what we'll do is we'll just check out a little bit more of this. Like, we'll show you another section of the space station. Obviously, I've left out some crucial parts on purpose. But yeah, if you are enjoying what you're seeing here, grab this game. As I said, it retails for about $20 US. It's on PC and also Xbox One. And as I said, Steam sales start tomorrow, so I believe. So no doubt this will have, I'd imagine, at least 20% off, if not a bit more. So could be a good time to get it, you know, just in time for Christmas. And yeah, as I said, it's a good sort of game to knock out over a night or a weekend. You know, it's about 4 to 6 hours. And it's a cool little story. Like, as I said, I feel like the ending is, it lands the ending, I'll say. That's all I'll say about the ending. Wonder what the speed run record is on this game. As I said, I feel like I've bypassed a few things here, but this is called the food supply thing. If you know me, you'll know why I think this is cool. So they've got all these sort of plants growing in their own little sort of internal greenhouse, I guess. And this is the botanist's office, I guess. Found this interesting, like, why did I find it interesting? Can't remember. I'm pretty sure there's a way you can move it. How do you do it? This is what I'm showing you. All these little minor details. Anyway, oh, actually, if I put it up here, I think perhaps. Oh no, I dropped it. Oh, that's more where that came from. Oh, I did it again. Oh no. I'm destroying this guy's office. 0281. So that might be his locker or something. But yeah, check this out. So these are like vats where they're growing artificial chicken meat, artificial fish, artificial cow, beef, whatever. So you can kind of see and kind of hear what it sounds like, which is quite interesting because there's I believe there's a okay, so I try not to mention it often, but I'm vegan. Because the old joke is, how do you know someone's vegan? They'll tell you. I try to avoid telling people. But it's hard to explain this scenario, but why I'm so supportive of this. The fact is, like, regardless of the ethics of veganism, whether you think it's a good idea, not to kill animals and so forth and that, I don't think it's actually sustainable into the future. I don't think we can meet the demand, especially as we have more countries that are getting more developed and have the demand for something like meat that maybe didn't have the demand for it before. We don't necessarily have the land mass for all that livestock, and that's, you know, livestock contributes one of the most biggest things to greenhouse gas emissions. You know, if you had no livestock going on, we'd probably almost be halfway there as far as trying to tackle, you know, climate change and stuff. Anyway, so I feel like we're going to be enforced into the future, especially in 70 years' time, whether you want to or not, you're going to be eating artificial meat. And that, if even real meat exists still for a food product, it'll be like a luxury item that you have to pay a lot of money for, you know, because it would be a rare thing. But also, in 70 years' time, like this game is based, technology will be so advanced that this is, you know, normal. And kids and all that have grown up, you know, in the past 20 or 30 years of this world, you know, wouldn't even think about, you know, not eating artificial. The concept of eating real meat might be something that dies out in the past with people that grew up eating real meat. So I find this quite interesting how they've presented this. Yeah. What I was going to say is there's a company, I think, in Israel that's current, because there's various alt meats companies going on. There's like Beyond Meat, Impossible Meats, and then that are developing up new stuff. And then there's plenty of existing companies like Linda McCartney, Fry's, Corn, Tofurkey, Gardein. There's so many different artificial meats, if you will, companies around. But the ones that are kind of taking to the next step where it really is getting authentic, like full on, are taking different sort of ways of approaching it, more scientific sort of lab sort of orientated approach. And one is a Israeli company, I think, and their concept, which is a bit ethically questionable, and that depends on how they're doing it. I believe they're taking sort of cells from live animals and then they grow meat based off that in a lab, like in some sort of incubator. So I feel like this is possibly based off that concept, where that is actually live meat, but it's not a live chicken. So yeah, it's a really quite interesting concept, that. So when I saw that in the game, I was like, oh, cool, they're like fully exploring that concept. And that's what I like about science fiction games and futuristic games, is it's playing with all those future concepts, like what if, like if we're here right now, like with certain technologies and stuff, where would we be in 70 years? And I reckon that would have been one of the fun parts of developing this game, is really kind of thinking about, okay, what do these people eat? You know, why would they eat that? How would they eat food, you know, on this space station? But is that set up just for the space station, or is that just food in general now on Earth and that, you know, and on this moon hotel? I was going to say moon base, but it's not a moon base, but you know, that thing we saw a picture of earlier on. Oh, what was that dude's code? Let's go back and get that dude's code again. I've got such a bad memory. I like it on a Switch. The Switch has got this screenshot button that's really good for like just taking a screenshot of something so you can remember it later on and really easily. I mean, I guess this has as well, but I always forget what it is. Where was that very hard to find code? 0281. Man, they must be very trustworthy on this space station. I don't know if this is actually for this one anyway, but 0281. It was. That was it. Hey, Pinotto, how's it going? So someone's been smoking. It's interesting that in 70 years' time, smokes are still a thing. it blows me away today even that people smoke still, you know. I can understand back in the day when there was like a doctor on TV saying I smoke Laramies, but nowadays, like, it's like knowing what smoking does to you. Like, I just don't get it. Like, you know, there's drugs that obviously give people kicks and that in different ways and that sort of thing, so you could argue there's some point to that, but cigarettes, I've always had this point of view that the only point to smoke cigarettes is because you started smoking in the first place and now you're addicted and you need to keep smoking. I mean, there's the argument that, you know, de-stresses you and stuff like that, but yeah, I think you're going to be a lot more stressed later on when you get health problems with your lungs and stuff and that. Anyway, this has turned in quite a ethics stream in many ways, but I think that's what's good about this game, is it kind of does get you to think about stuff, because it's showing you what the world might be like in the future. Alright, we just picked up that rock, and I reckon that was that guy's rock from here, so let's put it into there. I mean, I'm just doing little minor things in here so I don't give away much of the storyline and that, but... Oh, you just been Christmas shopping, Peanut. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I sorted out my Christmas stuff, like, yesterday, I think it was. My family's mostly got a no presents rule, you know, so we stop wasting stuff, you know, just giving stupid, well, not stupid presents, but presents that you don't, junk presents, if you will. Like, you feel like every year it's harder and harder to think of something that someone actually needs, and also people probably would just go and buy their own things that they want these days, like, so, hey, that does fit there. There you go. Didn't get a Steam achievement for that though. But yeah, so we've really cut down giving presents. We only give it to, like, my brother's got 2 kids, so we just basically get presents for them, and we don't get presents for each other, because it's just a waste of money, you know. Without getting into the, oh, you're buying into consumerism, man, thing. Like, it's just, yeah, it's just like, you kind of don't want to keep junking up your house with stuff that you're not actually going to use, because people are just forcing to buy you presents. Like, oh, I've already got them this, 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 and this, so, oh, I don't know, I found this, I know, head massager on special. I don't think he's got one of those. I guess I'll get him a head massager, and then you use it once, and then it ends up in landfill later on. So we do get presents for each other for our birthdays, but yeah, Christmas, I mean, we're not religious anyway, so in that respect, I mean, it's interesting how passionate people can be about Christmas when they're not even religious. Like, I mean, to me, it's annual gift giving day or annual family day. I mean, obviously it has some meaning to people who are religious, but yeah, I'm not religious, and neither is my family, and I don't know. I don't feel like the commercial 2017 version of Christmas really necessarily relates to any sort of purported religion links, really. You know? Anyway, we've been getting into some hectic topics really tonight in tonight's stream. This is supposed to be about top 10 games a year, not my top 10 theories of the world streams. So yeah. So we've discovered another recording here. I don't want to really show it because this once again will start giving away things. Well, Peanut, I don't actually drink, so I can't tell you if Australian wine is good or not. I can't imagine it'd be any worse. I mean, kind of just down south from where I live, probably about 2 or 3 hours, there's a lot of wineries. A lot of people that do tourism go around doing wine tastings. So I guess we're probably somewhat known for making wine and that, but yeah, don't ask me for opinions on that stuff. Man, I'm giving away a lot about me tonight. This was supposed to be just about the game Tacoma, my number 6 game of the year. Which is interesting. It's almost like we're doing the same thing that we're doing here, which is kind of finding out about the characters, like based off different things. It's interesting how it's trying to make this sort of zen little zone. It's interesting that it's like a physical place and not a like a VR sort of virtual sort of space. It's like a physical little sort of fake garden with relaxing sounds and that. I mean, this is the thing. If you were on this space station, looking over Earth and that sort of thing, how cool would that be? But after a while, would you get claustrophobic? Would you go a bit crazy? Would you want to just have natural environments around you? I mean, I don't go out a heck of a lot. You know, I like being indoors, but maybe once that got taken away from you, maybe you would be a bit different. Like, maybe you'd actually want the opposite, you know? One of them was from Western Australia. Okay, cool. Well, the two major places I'd say, I think, as far as my knowledge goes, for wine in Western Australia would be in Margaret River, and also Swan Valley. Those are the two major winery places, to my knowledge, in Western Australia. So it may very well be from one of those places. Okay, this is a 6 months ago log, so I think this will be safe without giving away any sort of spoilers. So let's just play that, shall we? This is like a character personal log, really, I guess, in many ways.
Okay, Odin, ready? I'm gonna do it this time.
Oh, that's right, they play like this sort of game of some sort. Sort of AR game. Arguably, it's quite basic, because, I mean, even Pokemon Go looks better than that. SGD, that's Singapore dollar, I think, isn't it? I feel like Singapore must be a major part of this game. I feel like those coins had that line that's associated with Singapore and that. Or what? Maybe it's one of the characters are from Singapore, perhaps. I can't remember. Yeah, you can kind of see there's like a scoreboard. Sarah versus Andrew. It's a shame. You can't play this game yourself, I don't believe. So that's one of the games you can't play within the game. What view you got here, I guess? Not that very... Oh, that's alright, but not so much down there. See, I was talking about vegan stuff earlier on. See how it's got synthetic egg? So, you know, I think this is very much a vegan world, or at least on the planet. Well, this would have been from Earth, so yeah, maybe eating meat and animal products is gone in 70 years' time, which to me I think is a very realistic goal. 70 years, yeah. Just knowing how slow humans are to adapt to things. I mean, currently vegetarian and veganism makes up about, I think, about 10 to 11% of the world. At least in some countries it does. It would vary from country to country, of course. But, yeah. So, yeah, there's quite a long way to go, really, in that respect. But, you know, in 70 years' time, you could argue if that just goes up 1% per year, you know, you're at, you know, pretty much almost 100% veganism just there. Amazon University. So there's a few references to big corporations kind of, I guess, taking over the education system and stuff like that. So there's like this Amazon University. And I feel like there's another one as well. I really dug these concepts, how these sort of concepts like that. Actually, because my game's kind of set in the future that I'm working on right now, and actually playing this makes me really think about, yeah, maybe I should really be doing that sort of concept development early on about, you know, what things have happened like that, you know, like have corporations taken over education, for example, you know, because governments don't want to fund them anymore. So, and then if they have, how has that skewed education, you know? I mean, of course, Amazon probably would want people to be smart because they need smart people working for their companies. Though at the same time, how many smart people do they need? Has it mostly been automated these days? You know, Amazon's factories, for example, in 70 years' time would definitely be, there'd be not one human in the factory probably, you know? There'll be drones and automation and that. But yeah. Anyway. This game gets me into deep conversations, you know? I like it. I haven't seen Soylent Green, Penal. I saw a trailer for it. I remember finding it on YouTube, and it's like a movie from, I think, about the 70s and that, and I think it's about humans being eaten for whatever reason. But I believe it's a classic film, which is interesting because there's that meal replacement thing that was made in Silicon Valley that you can buy called Soylent. I don't know if that's a reference to Soylent Green or not, but... And it's, the idea of Soylent was supposed to be that it replaces all your nutritional needs and you don't need to eat like real food. Yeah, it's supposed to be, you know, for people on the go that don't have time for eating and that. But I think it's quite expensive, and also it's supposed to taste hideous, and some people have gotten sick from it. Yeah. I was talking about veganism earlier on, how we will need to at some point replace animal meat with replacement meat, like alternative artificial meats. I don't think humans want to give up the act of eating, you know, so that's why I say, like, it should, you still want a tasty burger, you still want to eat a burger. You don't want to necessarily into a milkshake and you just drink a milkshake and go, well, I've eaten for today, you know. I think people enjoy eating stuff. They enjoy the smell of it, the look of it, the taste of it, you know. So I don't think we necessarily want to go to a milkshake society, you know, without actually being milk, of course, cow milk. Yeah, so I don't think that's actually the way forward, really. But, you know, it may be part of our diets of the future, for sure. Hey, I play legit. It's been a while since I've seen you in channel. Playing cards. If only there was a poker mini game in this. Fresh, pure drinking water. I like how the physics of that just flop over. Nah, it's not Xbox One. Legit. This is actually the PC version, but yes, it is also. This game is also available on Xbox One. I think that might be about all we can show in this area, without actually fully getting in the game, if you know what I mean. Like actually, you know, giving you spoilers and stuff, which I don't think I want to do, because it is quite a short game. I don't think I want to give any spoilers away. I mean, they're not, you know, mind-breaking sort of spoilers or anything like that, but 17% done. But there's still, you know, yeah, you should play this game. That's why it's my number 6 of the year, you know. You should play this game. It is a good game. But only play if you're the sort of player that actually likes these sort of games. You know, I can understand why there's people that hate these sort of games. So if you do hate these sort of games, this is not going to convince you any more. You know, it's definitely one of the best. You know, I think still Firewatch is probably still the pinnacle of this genre. But this would not be far behind it, along with Gone Home, of course. But yeah, but still, you either like these games or you don't. Here's another recording. I don't have an Xbox One. No, I don't. I play legit. It's about the only console I don't have. I have Nintendo Switch, I have PlayStation 4, I have Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1, Xbox Original, Nintendo Wii U, Nintendo Wii, Nintendo 64, Nintendo GameCube, Nintendo Super Nintendo, Nintendo Entertainment System, Sega Master System, Sega Mega Drive, Sega Dreamcast, and Sega Saturn, and Game Boy Color. But I do not have an Xbox One. Because to be honest, I don't see the point. All of its exclusives are also on PC, except for I think maybe Halo. And I'm not interested in Halo. To be honest, the only reason I want to get an Xbox One is to get the 4K Blu-ray player in it. Because the Xbox One S is the cheapest 4K Blu-ray player you can get. And I've got a 4K TV, but stupidly, Sony didn't include a 4K Blu-ray player into the PlayStation 4 Pro, so yeah, I still would like to get a 4K Blu-ray player. Because, for example, I really want to get Blade Runner 2049 in 4K. I want to see that in 4K. Yeah, so yeah. Do I have Black Ops 2 for Xbox 360? No, I don't. I'm generally not a first-person shooter player. I barely have anything for Xbox 360. I'm just not an Xbox person in general. I mainly got the Xbox 360s because I wanted to get a Kinect. Because I wanted to try out Kinect hacks, like for doing some sort of art projects. I never got around to doing it actually, so so I don't think... Oh, and I also got it for the original Mass Effect, because originally Mass Effect 1 was... I had Mass Effect 2 on PlayStation 3. That's how I first got into Mass Effect. But that was the first Mass Effect to come to PlayStation 3. And then... Or any PlayStation, I guess. And then... what was it? Yeah, Mass Effect 3 was coming out. I was like, oh... About a month before Mass Effect 3 came out, I was like, I really want to play through Mass Effect 1 so I can get all that extra backstory, because you know, Mass Effect was my favorite series at the time, or one of my favorite series. So that was another reason why I wanted to get Xbox. So I got that to get Mass Effect 1. Eventually, they did actually release Mass Effect 1 on PlayStation 3, which kind of sucked, but at least I got to play it through before I smashed through that so quickly. As like, I ignored all side quests, I just went through the main story, and I don't know, it was probably 20, 30, 40 hours, but I got through it just before Mass Effect 3 came out. So I kind of played Mass Effect series in a weird order, where I went 2, 1, 3, but at least I had that extra backstories of a few characters that were talked about in number 2, but you didn't actually see them in number 2. 2 remains my favorite Mass Effect game, then 3 was probably the next best, and then number 1, the original, and then of course we don't talk about Mass Effect Andromeda. What a shame. What a shame that BioWare stuffed that up by putting all their good talent onto Anthem, which is coming out in 2018, which is their version of Destiny, basically. What a cop-out, you know. They're their major series, Mass Effect, you know, so many people were waiting, just begging for more Mass Effect content, and then, like, no offense to the people that worked on Mass Effect Andromeda. Actually, I shouldn't use the term their best talent on Anthem. What I'm saying is enough talent, if you will. I feel like I get the feeling that Mass Effect Andromeda was highly under-resourced, and that's why it came out with all these sort of jerky, like crappy animations and stuff like that. Because I believe from what I read, the animation team just didn't have enough people to work on it to get, you know, AAA grade style animations on such a huge game. So it sounds like they really understaffed it and put most of their staff working on Anthem. And man, Anthem better pay off, because they basically destroyed Mass Effect series with that. Like, who knows when we're going to get another Mass Effect game. We're not going to get a direct sequel to Andromeda. I only got 15 hours into that. I couldn't get any further with that. I just got over it by then. And this is from someone that put over 100 hours into the original Mass Effect series. So it sucks that I don't know the end of that, but from what little bits I've read without getting spoilers, I don't think they really wrap everything up, because they were expecting to have DLC or a sequel on that, and this was going to be the start of maybe a new trilogy, but instead, we didn't even get any DLC. They just patched it a few times to get it a little less janky, and then it was like, well, sorry, this experiment didn't work out, did it? I mean, they took a major risk with starting with new characters and all that, so I kind of applaud them for that, but yeah, at the end of the day, there was some good ideas in there, but it just didn't draw me in. And you've got, in a massive AAA title like that, to want to sink tens of hours into a game like that, you have to be drawn into it straight away, like I have been with Fallout 4. That just totally sucked me in, and that's why I've done 120, 130 hours in that. And what's happening with me right now with Zelda Breath of the Wild, it just completely sucked me in, and I expect to do 100 hours or so in that game as well. So yeah, that was a bit of a long-winded story, wasn't it? Adequate storage. How do I stream? What web camera and capture card and stuff? Okay. So I'm using the web camera I'm using is a Logitech 922, I think it's called. It's a 1080p camera. It can actually remove backgrounds automatically. I'm actually on a green screen now. I probably would rather an automatic removal, because then I could wear green shirts. That means I could wear all my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shirts on stream. Unless I change the screen to a blue screen, but I can't bother doing that. But I can't actually use that feature because you need a newer CPU, and I've got a first generation Core i7, and it doesn't have something in that chipset or whatever that allows this camera to just automatically remove the background. I can't imagine an automatic removal would work as well as a green screen anyway, but still, at least you could wear whatever you want then, without having, you know, things go missing, like, you know, like on this Frankenweenie shirt, you can kind of see where it says Frankenweenie. It's kind of see-through at that point, so yeah. So that's what happens. And capture card. So I'm streaming this game right now directly from the PC into OBS, the software. So it's not going into a separate computer to capture, though I do have my laptop to the side to just run chat and that. So that's running on my desktop. But I do have a capture card, and that's for console streams. So I've got an Elgato, what is it, Game Capture HD, and it's an older model, and I got that partly because I could get it cheap secondhand. I found one for only $50, which was like brand new. I've even got the box here actually. So yeah, but the main reason I got this older one is because it had a component cable on it, which the newer ones don't, which meant I could actually connect my retro consoles that I listed out earlier on and stream those. So I've had a lot of problems with trying to get that to work, so I don't know how much that was worth it in the end anyway. But it does HDMI fine, that's for sure. We've done quite a few Nintendo Switch streams and PlayStation 4 streams and that, so yeah. So I guess that's kind of my setup. And then I guess, yeah, I've got a USB external sound card, a Focusrite 2i4, which I don't think I've actually got listed on my page. Have I got that listed on my page? I was going to say, actually, I play legit. My whole rig is listed. I don't have that on there. I should put my sound card on there. which is probably responsible for the audio issues I have once per stream where I turn into having a robot voice. I think it's to do with USB drivers. That reminds me, yeah, I'll update my rig. I haven't got the sound card on there. So yeah, and I'm using a Shure SM7B mic plugged into that, which is quite a broadcast style mic. But it was also the same mic, not this exact mic, but the same model of mic that Michael Jackson used on, I think, what album was it? I think it was Thriller. I don't know, one of his early classic albums. So it's a classic mic that's often used in radio stations and a lot of metal artists, I think, use it for. I've seen like on that Metallica documentary, Some Kind of Monster. I saw what's his name, the lead singer for Metallica, using this mic and that. So I have to have the sound completely cranked up on my mic though. It's absolutely maxed out, and even then it's still quite quiet. So I use a compressor plug-in on OBS to kind of crank up the audio a little bit. Yeah, you can stream live with the Elgato. But I mean, in the past, most of my streaming has been PC based, so I haven't had to use a capture card at all. I just stream directly on the PC through OBS, which is free, I guess, live streaming software. But if you're a console-based streamer, then yes, you can either stream directly from your console, but then I've tried that with PS4, and you have crappy overlays. You can't have your custom overlays, and also the compression, man. Oh wow, I watched back a Bloodborne stream I did that was directly from the PS4 instead of going into my PC via capture card, and the compression, as soon as you moved, it just turned into this pixelated mess. So yeah, I don't know what was going on there, but it wasn't good. So yeah, nowadays I do all my console streams through my capture card. So I guess if you are serious about streaming on console, you would need a PC with a capture card of some sort. And mine's an external USB one, but you can actually get internal PCI cards as well. Elgato is one company. There's another one called I think Ava Media, which seems to be popular as well. So there's a few brands around there. Razer also do capture cards as well. So as you can see, there's a lock here. We do not have that key at this point. But once again, I'm almost giving just a tour of this game. I'm not really giving away too much, because I want you to buy this game. I want you to, you know, experience it for yourself if you are interested in this game. I mean, I think just walking into these rooms isn't going to give you any too crazy surprises, but relaxation sounds. I wonder if you were stuck on a space station for years, if those sounds would be relaxing or not. Here's one of those desktop computers. Oh, I was looking for those ID cards that were talking about California being a separate state. I mean, a separate country. Confederacy of North American Agri-Power Producers. No, that's not the one about California. It's interesting because there's occasionally been suggestions of my state in my country. What's the word for it? Is it succeeding or seceding? Separating from the rest of Australia, because geographically we take up about 1/3 of the landmass of the country, and we also have a lot of the resources that prop up the revenue, I guess, of the rest of the country, but we don't get that back so much on taxes, so we often kind of a bit done over as far as our tax revenue goes, despite I guess our mining and that kind of supplying a lot of revenue. Not that mining companies pay much tax. They're one of the many dodgy companies that get away with not paying much tax. So I mean, yeah, to be honest, you know, if Western Australia complaining about, oh, we don't get enough what we call GST, which is a service tax, back from the federal government, maybe they should actually be looking at how can we actually be charging the mining companies more money that are taking all our resources and making a whole lot of money and probably selling a lot of it overseas. That's probably what they should be worrying about. Man, I've been getting into the ethical sort of discussions tonight. This is not what it's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be celebrating the best games of 2017. But this is what, I mean, this is what's great about this game. Yes, there's a story here. I'm not showing you much of it, and that's on purpose. But I want you to experience that story. But yeah, because it is set in the future, if you're anything like me and a bit of a futurist, it gets you thinking about concepts about the future, and I like it when it does that. I like when films do that, TV shows do it, and in particular I like it when games do it. Because to me, games are better than film and TV. I studied film and TV. I got over it pretty quickly. And that's why nowadays I want to make games myself. Because I think games are the 21st century medium in many ways, you know. Sure, you know, they started kicking in around the 70s and that, but... Have we been in here already? I'm losing track. I think we have. Yeah, I'm going around in circles at this point. Maybe that's enough for showing you of Tacoma at this point. I've shown you 2 sections of the 3 main sections of this space station, really. There is more, there's lots more, without going into detail. And of course, there's all these audio logs, which I'm not going to play like this one 2 days ago. That will probably give some spoilers, and I don't want to give any spoilers because it is only a 4 to 6 hour game, but it is only $20 retail, and it's a short story, and it's all killer no filler, as I said earlier on at the start of the stream. So I hope you've enjoyed that stream of Tacoma. That is my number 6 game of the year by Fulbright, the makers of Gone Home. So if you do like your first-person explorers and you haven't played this already, why haven't you? Like, seriously, like, this is one of the top walking simulators, first-person explorers, FPX games, whatever you want to call it, games there is. And that's why it's my number 6 of the year. And in other years where it would be a little less competitive because it wasn't, like, this year was such a massive year for gaming, I feel. And I keep seeing that being mentioned for people. I know people like to say things like that. Oh, it's been the biggest year ever for gaming. No, I think it actually has been this year. It has been a huge year for gaming this year. Or at least it has been for me. I've played a lot of games, mainly because I've been on this stream and that. So, but yeah, it is a great game. So if you want something to do for night or weekend, check it out. And as I said, I think the Steam sale, winter sale, starts tomorrow. So you might be even able to get a discount on it if you hold off for a day or two. That's number 6, Tacoma. So that's all we'll play of this for now. Of course, next up, we're going to play a number 5 game. So what I'm going to do is stop the stream, and then I'll start a fresh stream for number 5. And yeah, we'll get into number 5 of my top 10 games of 2017. So just hold on to your horses and I'll be right back. And of course, if you're watching the archived version on Twitch or on YouTube, of course, just click on the link for the next game. You already know probably what the list of games are already because I'll have the title there. But anyway, we'll be right back for those on the live stream in just a moment.